Ladies and gentlemen, there's a silent war going on, and it's not between nations, not between people, not even between right and wrong. It's the war within the mind of a woman who has forgotten who she is, a woman who once carried fire in her bones, but now carries doubt in her heart, a woman who once walked with boldness, but now tiptoes in fear. My sister, this is not about what the world has done to you. This is about what you've allowed to happen within you. Don't be the woman who destroys her own worth, because your worth was never up for negotiation. You were born with value not assigned by society, not measured by mirrors, not validated by attention, breathed into you by divine design. But when you don't believe that, you start to act in ways that contradict the glory you carry. Let's talk about 5 ways women destroy their worth and how to stop it. Don't be the woman who shrinks her value just to fit into places she's already outgrown. You were not created to settle. You were created to soar. You can't soar if you keep tying yourself to people, jobs, and relationships that clip your wings. Some of you are negotiating your peace for companionship, your dreams for approval, your time for validation. And the tragedy is, every time you settle, you say to the world, "This is all I'm worth." No more. Teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. Refuse to normalize disrespect. Refuse to call chaos passion. You're not being too picky, you're protecting your peace. Don't apologize for refusing to settle. There is nothing more toxic to your identity than comparison. You weren't called to be her, you were called to be you. When you live your life measuring your worth against someone else's highlight reel, you assassinate your own anointing. Sister, you are not behind, you're on your own path. Her success is not your failure. God didn't make a mistake on your journey, so stop scrolling and start seeking. Don't let the algorithm define your anointing. The fastest way to feel inadequate is to forget your own assignment. You don't need her timeline, followers, or her body. You need your truth. Own it. You cannot keep excusing emotional harm in the name of loyalty. Don't be the woman who confuses struggle love with real love. Real love doesn't hurt, confuse, or manipulate. Your worth is too expensive to be traded for crumbs of affection. Some of you are in relationships where you're always explaining, always defending, always proving. And you think that's love, but that's warfare. That's not intimacy. That's imprisonment. You are not hard to love. You are not asking for too much. You're just asking the wrong person. Walk away from what wounds you and watch your worth walk back in. You destroy your worth every time you curse your reflection, every time you say, "I'm not good enough. I'll never make it. I'm just too broken." You reinforce the lies of your past. Your words are weapons. Either you fight for yourself or against yourself. Life and death are in the power of your tongue. Speak like someone who knows her value. Look in the mirror and prophecy. I am becoming everything I was born to be. I am rising. I am healing. I am powerful. You are not your mistake. You are not your trauma. You are not your delay. Speak life, not labels. Because the words you speak today become the world you live in tomorrow. If you're still waiting for a committee to confirm your calling, you'll miss your moment. Don't be the woman who keeps shrinking in rooms you were meant to lead in just because someone didn't clap for you. Stop begging people to see you when God already chose you. You don't need permission to be powerful. You don't need applause to activate your assignment. You just need clarity. Your purpose doesn't require validation. It requires vision. If they don't get it, fine. If they don't support it, fine. You're not doing it for them. Rise up and do it scared, do it messy, do it without cheerleaders. Just do it. There is a slow death that happens in silence, an erosion of self, a burial of dreams, a quiet surrender that leaves no visible scars but causes internal collapse. That death is called settling. And let me tell you today, with every ounce of fire in my soul, settling is self-sabotage. You weren't born to just survive. You were born to thrive. You weren't placed on this earth just to exist. You were called to excel. But what happens when a woman forgets her worth? When she's been told for so long she's too much that she starts believing she should be less. When she's been broken, betrayed, abandoned, overlooked, she begins to convince herself that she should accept what's available instead of pursuing what she deserves. Settling is not just about relationships. It's not just about who you marry or date. Settling shows up in every corner of your life. Settling is when you silence your voice in a meeting because you're afraid of sounding too bold. Settling is when you stay in a job that drains your spirit because you think you're too old, too stuck, or too late to change. Settling is when you stop dreaming because disappointment hurt you too deeply the last time. Settling is not a compromise, it's a concession, a surrender, quiet resignation that says, I guess this is the best I can do. But hear me. The moment you choose to settle is the moment you begin to sabotage the version of you that was called for more. God did not put greatness in you just for you to blend in. He didn't place vision in you just to watch you bury it beneath fear and familiarity. He didn't call you chosen just so you could act convenient. But you keep saying, at least I have someone. At least I'm not alone. At least I'm getting by. Let me tell you something about at least. That phrase is the language of survival, thriving. You weren't built to live in at least. You were made to live in abundance. But when you settle, you convince yourself that a breadcrumb is a feast. You'll call dysfunction normal. You'll name mediocrity peace. You'll lie to yourself just to avoid the discomfort of starting over. Is staying in something that's slowly killing your purpose really easier than walking alone for a season so you can grow? Is staying silent really safer than speaking your truth, even if it costs you approval? Is choosing comfort really wise when comfort is the coffin where your calling goes to die? You are not the woman who was created to shrink herself to fit into small places. You are not the woman who was born to bend until you break just to make other people feel whole. You are not the woman who has to dim her light because someone else can't handle your shine. But settling tells you to hide your brilliance, to deny your desires, and to delay your destiny. And the enemy is clever. He doesn't destroy you by force. He gets you to destroy yourself through low expectations, through fear disguised as wisdom, through tiredness that pretends to be contentment. And before you know it, you're trapped in a life that looks stable from the outside, but feels like slow death on the inside. Don't be deceived by the illusion of safety. There is no safety in surrendering your purpose. There is no peace in pretending to be someone you're not. There is no reward in living a lie for the sake of not rocking the boat. Yes, growth is uncomfortable. Yes, walking away from what's familiar is terrifying. Yes, choosing to wait for what you deserve might feel lonely, but that temporary discomfort is better than permanent disappointment. Every time you let people stay in your life who disrespect you, ignore you, or use you, you're teaching them that you don't know your value. Every time you remain silent when your soul is screaming to speak up, you're telling the world your voice doesn't matter. Every time you shrink to make others feel bigger, you reinforce the lie that your presence is a problem. You were not made to settle. You were made to stand. You were made to rise. You were made to disrupt the ordinary. You are the answer to someone's problem, the solution to a broken space, the healing to a hurting people. But that version of you cannot emerge as long as you keep settling for situations that choke your growth. And listen, sometimes the hardest thing to do is leave the place that feels safest, because the familiar has a way of making you think you're free when you're really bound. But freedom never lives in familiarity. It lives in faith. Faith to walk away from what doesn't align. Faith to believe there's more. Faith to say, even if I'm scared, I won't stay where I don't belong. You don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to live in lack. You don't have to accept what wounds you. You don't have to settle for roles, routines, and relationships that are beneath the call on your life. You don't need to be chosen by them. You were already chosen by God. You don't need everyone to understand you. You just need to understand yourself. You don't need a crowd to walk in purpose. You just need conviction. So don't sabotage your own rise. Don't clip your wings because someone else is afraid of flying. Don't bury your dreams under someone else's comfort. The version of you that is bold, fulfilled, joyful, whole, she's waiting. But you'll never meet her until you stop settling. You've been dimming your light to make people comfortable, but comfort has never built a queen. Rise, woman of purpose. Get up, woman of strength. Shake the dust off, let go of what's not growing you, and remind the world, I will no longer settle for less than I deserve. There is a silent killer among women, a thief that doesn't show up with weapons, but with whispers. It doesn't attack your body, it poisons your mind. Doesn't come from your enemies, it disguises itself in your own voice. That killer is comparison. And if you're not careful, it will rob you of your peace, your progress, and most of all, your purpose. Comparison is not just a bad habit, it's an identity crisis. It's the enemy of authenticity. It takes the beauty of your journey and overlays it with someone else's path, making you believe that who you are and what you have is somehow not enough. Let me tell you today, comparison doesn't just hurt you, it kills you from within. It kills vision, it kills confidence, it kills creativity, and it kills purpose. There's a reason why the enemy doesn't try to steal your car, your house, or your more money first. He goes after your mind, because if he can make you believe that what someone else has is somehow more valuable than what you carry, he's already won. If he can distract you with her looks, her lifestyle, her relationship, her platform, he doesn't even have to destroy you. You'll do it yourself, quietly, repeatedly, with every scroll, with every side eye, with every, why not me? You weren't meant to walk like her, talk like her, move like her, arise like her. You were called to be you. And until you fully embrace your divine design, you'll keep living beneath your purpose, chasing someone else's blueprint while neglecting your own. Here's the danger of comparison. It makes you doubt your own anointing. You will start to devalue what's in your hand because you're too busy watching what's in hers. You'll call your process slow, your progress insignificant, your gift not enough, because someone else's moment looks brighter than your current one. You don't know her story. You don't know what she fought to get there. You don't know what she cries about at night. You don't know the battles behind that smile. So while you're envying her blessing, you may be overlooking your own miracle. The fact that you're still here, still standing, still dreaming, still trying, that's grace. That's glory. That's purpose in motion. Comparison makes you forget that your journey has value. It makes you resent your process. It convinces you that you are behind. But behind what? Behind who? There is no timeline when you're walking in purpose. There is no competition in a divine assignment. There is only alignment, and alignment doesn't require applause. It requires focus. You keep asking, why isn't it happening for me? And I want to challenge that thinking. What if it's already happening? Just not in the way you expected. What if what you call delay is actually development? What if what you call rejection is actually redirection? You miss it because you're too busy comparing your path to someone else's highlight reel. Let's talk about social media for a second. In this generation, comparison is on steroids. You're exposed to curated moments, filtered smiles, rehearsed perfection. And if you're not grounded in truth, you'll begin to believe that your life is broken just because someone else's looks polished. But baby, don't confuse presentation with reality. Don't confuse visibility with value. There's power in knowing who you are. There's power in saying, I don't need to run her race. I've got my own. There's power in celebrating others without canceling yourself in the process, because real confidence doesn't compete, it complements. Real women don't compare, they cheer each other on. You can't cheer for others if you secretly believe that their win means your loss. That's not purpose, that's poison. Purpose says, there's enough space for all of us to rise. Purpose says, I'm not behind, I'm being built. Purpose says, my time is coming. I don't have to rush, copy, or compete. When you walk in purpose, you understand that your value was never up for debate. You stop performing for likes and start living for legacy. You stop dressing to impress and start walking in divine confidence. You stop imitating and start innovating. But comparison will rob you of that if you let it. It will have you changing your voice, your style, your circle, even your calling, just to try and fit into a mold that was never meant for you. There's a unique frequency in your life, a rhythm, a tone, a flavor that only you carry. The world needs what you bring. And if you spend your life trying to replicate someone else, we will miss the magic of you. That's the tragedy of comparison. It doesn't just hurt you. It deprives the world of your gift while you're trying to be heard. The world is waiting for you. There's a calling on your life that doesn't require you to look left or right. Just look up and then look within. You are enough. You are chosen. You are equipped. But you'll never live like it if you keep measuring your value through someone else's lens. So today, I challenge you to break free. Break free from the lie that you're not enough. Break free from the fear that someone else's success means there is none left for you. Break free from the pressure to prove yourself to people who don't even know your story. There's a lie that's been whispered to women for generations, a lie that wraps itself in flowers, gifts, apologies, I love yous, a lie that looks like love, sounds like love, feels like love, but leaves you drained, confused, insecure, and wounded. That lie is this emotional abuse is normal. It's part of love. It means he cares. Let's stop dressing dysfunction in the language of devotion. Let's stop calling pain passion and control concern. Love does not silence you. Love does not gaslight you. Love does not manipulate, belittle, humiliate, or twist your reality. Love does not require you to sacrifice your identity to secure someone else's comfort. That is not love. That is abuse in disguise. Too many women are crying themselves to sleep, praying for the strength to hold on, believing that if they just love harder, stay longer, apologize more, shrink smaller, that somehow the relationship will heal, that somehow they will finally be enough. But let me speak directly to your spirit. You were never meant to beg to be seen, to plead to be heard, or to fight to be valued. That is not what healthy love feels like. That is not what your soul was designed for. Emotional abuse is silent but deadly. It doesn't leave bruises on your skin, it leaves fractures in your soul. It convinces you that your worth is dependent on someone else's mood. It keeps you apologizing for things you didn't do, walking on eggshells in your own home, losing yourself one piece at a time until one day you wake up and don't even recognize the woman in the mirror. Emotional abuse wears many faces. It's the constant criticism that erodes your confidence. It's the silent treatment used as punishment. It's the jealousy disguised as protection. It's the manipulation that makes you question your memory, your judgment, your sanity. It's the charm that follows every outburst, the guilt that follows every confrontation, the apology that comes with no change. Love is not a performance where you must audition daily to be worthy. Love is not a prison where your freedom is the price for someone else's ego. Love is not a mind game where the rules change every time you start to understand them. Love is a safe place, a sanctuary, a healing balm, not a bleeding wound. The longer you stay in an emotionally abusive relationship, the more it rewires your mind. You start to believe that this is all there is. You start to believe that something's wrong with you, that you're too emotional, too needy, too sensitive. But you are not too anything. You are simply in a place that cannot contain your truth. You've been taught that endurance equals strength. Sometimes strength is not staying, it's walking away. Sometimes faith is not in praying for them to change. It's in trusting God enough to leave. Sometimes love is not about holding on tighter. It's about letting go so you can find you again. You are not crazy. You are not imagining it. You are not too weak to handle love. You are discerning. You are awakening. You are learning to trust what your spirit has been trying to say for a long time. This isn't love. This is control. This is fear. This is emotional warfare. And to the woman who's afraid to leave because she doesn't want to be alone, hear me clearly, loneliness is not the worst thing. Sometimes being alone is the first step to being whole. Peace is better than pretense. Healing is better than having company. Freedom is better than familiar bondage. You don't need to wait for him to become the man you dreamed he could be. If he wanted to change, he would. You don't need to wait for the next apology, the next promise, the next honeymoon phase. You've had enough cycles. You've cried enough tears. It's time to stop surviving and start living. And no, your past does not justify your pain. Your childhood trauma is not an excuse for you to settle. What happened to you was not your fault, but staying in a place that continues to wound you is now a choice. And you have the power to choose differently. You are not broken, you are breaking free. You are not damaged. You are discovering strength. You are not unworthy. You are awakening to your value. Do not allow fear to convince you that you need to stay. Do not allow shame to silence you. Do not allow false loyalty to keep you bound to someone who dishonors your soul. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love protects, nurtures, heals, lifts, and empowers. If the relationship is making you question your sanity, your beauty, your voice, your worth, that's not love. That's a counterfeit. You don't owe anyone your silence to keep the peace. You don't owe anyone your body to keep the relationship. You don't owe anyone your dignity to feel accepted. You owe yourself freedom. You owe yourself joy. You owe yourself truth. There is life after emotional abuse. There is purpose after pain. There is love after loss. There is a future that doesn't require you to bleed for someone else's healing. You have to choose it. You have to rise up and say, no more. Not one more insult, not one more manipulation, not one more sacrifice of self. You are not here to endure. You are here to evolve. You are not here to perform. You are here to be free. You are not here to fix people. You are here to walk in purpose. And your purpose does not require permission from someone who doesn't value you. Your healing does not depend on someone else's apology. Your wholeness does not wait for someone to stop hurting you. And once you recognize it, once you name it, once you confront it, you are no longer a victim. You are victorious. And when you rise, when you reclaim your voice, when you refuse to let pain define you, you become unstoppable. Words are not just sounds. Words are seeds. And every time you open your mouth, you are sowing something into your future, into your family, into your faith, into your very life. The tragedy is, many of us are living in broken worlds we built with broken words. Your words are not just expressions. They are creations. Every I can't, every I'll never, every I'm not enough is not just a phrase. It's a prophecy. You are either speaking life or speaking limits. You are either building up or tearing down. And the most dangerous words aren't the ones spoken about you. They're the ones you speak to yourself. We talk ourselves out of destiny, sabotage our potential not because of external attack, but because of internal dialogue. You're not losing because you're not gifted. You're losing because you keep saying, I'm not ready. I'm not smart enough. I'm not worthy. And you've said it so long, now it's a stronghold. Now it's not just a thought, it's a belief, a barrier, a self-fulfilling prophecy. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. That's not just poetic. That's spiritual law. That means you can destroy your opportunity with one sentence. You can silence your breakthrough with one phrase. You can hold up your purpose not because God hasn't released it, but because your words haven't made room for it. The universe, the very earth itself, was spoken into being. Let there be light, and there was light. Let the waters gather, and they gathered. So if creation responds to speech, why do you believe your words are powerless? If heaven moves by voice, why are you silent? Why are you speaking curses over a life that was designed for glory? Too many women walk around carrying heavy hearts and defeated spirits, not because of what others have said, but because of what they've said over themselves. I always mess up. I never get it right. Nothing good ever happens to me. Sis, that's not humility. That's self-destruction. That's not modesty. That's mental warfare. And your words are the weapon. You cannot speak defeat and expect victory. You cannot rehearse rejection and expect restoration. You cannot keep calling yourself broken and expect to live whole. What you speak, you summon. What you declare, you invite. And what you repeat, you become. Have you been building yourself up or tearing yourself down? You've been declaring peace or prophesying pain. Have you been affirming your growth or reinforcing your fears? Because every time you say, I'm not capable, your confidence hears you. Every time you say, I'm always overlooked, your destiny listens. And every time you say, I'll never make it, heaven pauses waiting for you to align your voice with your vision. You keep saying, I'm stuck. But the truth is, you're not stuck. You're silent. You haven't spoken differently. You haven't declared breakthrough. You haven't rebuked the lie. You haven't replaced the curse with a promise. You haven't partnered your mouth with your mission. And so you stay in places you were meant to walk out of, Even God had to speak over darkness before creation responded. And you must speak over the void, the chaos, the emptiness in your life if you want to see change. You must open your mouth even when you're trembling. You must speak purpose when you feel broken. You must declare light even when all you see is night. You think your words don't matter, but they do. Every affirmation is an anchor. Every declaration is a door. Every word of faith is a force that breaks chains you didn't even know were wrapped around your identity. The enemy doesn't care if you think powerful thoughts as long as you don't speak them. He'll let you believe in healing as long as you never declare it. He'll let you read about purpose as long as you never prophesy over yourself. Because he knows the moment you open your mouth with power, things start to shift. So say it even when you're scared. Say it even when you don't see it. Say it until your atmosphere changes. Say it until your mind aligns. Say it until your body believes it. Say it until hell hears you and backs off. Say it until heaven moves and angels come to war on your behalf. You are not weak. You are worthy. You are not late. You are in process. You are not forgotten. You are favored. You are not stuck. You are stepping into something new. You are not finished. You are just getting started. Start speaking like a woman who knows who she is. Start speaking like someone who understands the power she carries. Speak over your children. Speak over your finances. Speak over your purpose. Speak over your health. Speak over your mind. Speak over your relationships. Speak like your life depends on it, because it does. Silence may be safe, but it's not sacred. When you stop speaking, you start sinking. Don't let depression silence you. Don't let disappointment mute you. Don't let fear rob your roar. Stop rehearsing your failures. Start declaring your future. Stop echoing your past. Start prophesying your promise. Stop calling yourself broken. Start naming yourself blessed. You are powerful, not because of your status, not because of your beauty, because of your resume, but because of your mouth, because of your declarations, because of your agreement with heaven. You will rise. You will heal. You will speak life. You will walk in truth. You will use your words to create a world that honors who you are becoming. You will no longer tear yourself down. You will not use your mouth to curse what God has called chosen. You will speak with boldness, with grace, with conviction. As you do, watch your world begin to shift. Let's be real. There is a pressure that many women silently carry, an invisible weight that makes them second guess their calling, delay their dreams, shrink in rooms they were destined to own. And that pressure is this: the need for validation. The belief that until someone approves you, applauds you, supports you, or sees you, you can't move forward. But let me tell you with every ounce of fire in my bones, validation is not a prerequisite for purpose. You do not need a crowd to be called. You do not need confirmation to be chosen. You do not need to be liked to be legit. The purpose that was placed inside of you was not voted on. It wasn't assigned by people. It was breathed into you by God. So why are you waiting for human approval to walk in divine authority? You're checking for likes, retweets, applause, but purpose doesn't need a platform to be powerful. Purpose isn't dependent on how many people follow you. It's about who you're following. And if you're following truth, you're already enough. Too many women are standing at the edge of destiny, hesitating because someone didn't clap, someone didn't acknowledge them, someone didn't support them. And now they're sitting in delay, not because God hasn't opened the door, but because they're waiting for permission to walk through it. Hear me, if God gave it to you, no one else needs to sign off. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be light. You're not here to blend in. You're here to break ground. You're not here to meet expectations. You're here to shift atmospheres. But if you keep waiting for validation, you will miss your moment. Some of the greatest breakthroughs are locked behind your ability to move without applause, to go when nobody's watching, to build when nobody believes, to rise when everyone doubts. Validation addiction is real, and it's subtle. It sounds like, am I good enough? Will they understand me? What if they don't accept me? It's the trap of performing instead of becoming, proving instead of living. But let me remind you, you don't have to prove what's already true. Some of you have been quieting your voice because you're afraid of criticism. Rejection is not always a sign that you're wrong. It's a sign that your voice isn't for them. You're not called to everyone. You're not called to fit in. And when you start to understand that, you'll stop contorting yourself for crowds that were never meant to carry your calling. People who did the most damage to your confidence were often the ones too blind to see your potential. So why would you keep handing them the pen to write your story? You are not waiting to be discovered. You are waiting to decide. To decide that your purpose matters more than their opinions, that your destiny is louder than their doubts, that your future doesn't need their permission to be fulfilled. Your validation has to come from within, because the truth is there will be seasons when no one claps, no one calls, no one affirms. There will be moments when you feel invisible, unseen, misunderstood. But hear me, purpose doesn't pause in silence. Purpose grows in the dark. Just because it's quiet doesn't mean it's dead. You may be hidden, but you are not halted. Some of the most powerful women had to learn how to walk alone. They had to learn how to pray without a praise team, how to believe without a cheerleader, how to rise without an audience. Why? Because purpose isn't for the faint-hearted. It's for the faithful. How many ideas have you buried because someone didn't get it? How many dreams have you paused because you were waiting for someone to tell you it was time? How much anointing have you silenced because you feared being misunderstood? You don't need a mentor to say it's okay. You don't need a platform to act. You don't need your friends to co-sign your purpose. All you need is courage to speak when your voice shakes. Courage to start with little. Courage to show up without a crowd. Courage to believe in what God placed in you even when nobody sees it yet. People are fickle. They'll praise you today and criticize you tomorrow. They'll follow you when you're trending and abandon you when you're transforming. That's why your confidence must be rooted in your calling, not your clout. Don't look for validation in broken mirrors. Don't seek your identity in empty hands. Don't wait for confirmation from people who don't even know who they are. Your purpose is too sacred to be shaped by shallow opinions. When you truly know who you are, you stop waiting to be invited. You build the room, you host the table, you create your own lane. And whether they notice or not, you go anyway. You go because purpose is time sensitive. You go because somebody is waiting on your yes. You go because heaven already approved what earth still questions. So don't let fear slow you. Don't let silence stop you. Don't let rejection stunt you. And for God's sake, don't let the absence of validation make you forget your value. There is something in you that's bigger than applause. It's more powerful than acceptance. It's louder than silence. It's called destiny. And your destiny will not wait for everyone to believe in it. It's waiting for you to believe in it. So rise up, woman of purpose. Move forward. The validation without the cheerleading. Without the crowds. Speak even if your voice shakes. Walk even if your knees tremble. Build even if your hands are shaking. We need to have a conversation that many women have avoided for too long. Not because it's easy, because it's popular, but because it's necessary. Too many women are drained, depleted, and dangerously close to burnout. Not because of demons, because of enemies, but because of a lack of one crucial thing: boundaries. Boundaries are not rejection. Boundaries are protection. They are not walls built out of bitterness. They are gates built from wisdom. Boundaries don't mean you don't love people. Boundaries mean you finally learn to love yourself. We've been trained to believe that to be a good woman, a strong woman, or a godly woman, you have to say yes to everything. Smile through disrespect. Show up even when you're empty. Stay connected to people who constantly pull you down in the name of loyalty. But that's not strength. That's self-destruction. That's not faithfulness. That's emotional martyrdom. You are not required to be available to everyone all the time. You are not obligated to answer every call, respond to every text, fix every crisis, heal every heart, especially when it's costing you your own. Some of you are breaking down privately because you've been trying to carry what was never yours to hold. You keep calling it ministry. You keep calling it friendship. You keep calling it love. But deep down, you've crossed into emotional exhaustion. and you've mistaken it for purpose. You've confused people pleasing with being Christ. Like Jesus had boundaries. He pulled away from crowds. He protected his peace. He didn't go everywhere he was invited. He didn't heal everyone at the same time. And if the Son of God operated within sacred limits, why do you believe you have to run yourself into the ground to prove your love, worth, or value? Boundaries are not barriers. They are bridges. They connect you to the version you that is healthy, present, whole, and at peace. Because when you constantly override your limits to serve others, you are not loving them. You're losing yourself. And the dangerous thing is you won't even notice you're losing yourself until the resentment creeps in, till the exhaustion becomes your new normal, until your joy is gone and your soul feels like it's running on fumes. Then you realize what you called being there for everyone was actually abandoning yourself. You are not selfish for protecting your space. You are not cruel for choosing your peace. You are not ungodly for saying no without guilt. In fact, no is holy when it's protecting your health. No is anointed when it guards your spirit. No is prophetic when it stops people from accessing places in you that they constantly abuse. Some of you keep letting people back in just because they need you, but their presence is draining you, disrespecting you, and dishonoring your purpose. Ever care enough every time you draw a line, they find a way to cross it. Every time you try to distance yourself, they guilt you back into servitude. But that's not love. That's not honor. That's manipulation. You don't have to feel guilty for growing. You don't have to apologize for changing. You don't have to dumb down your discernment just to keep people close. If your elevation creates tension with people who once walked with you, let them go. Boundaries are not just about who you protect yourself from, but also what you protect within you. You're not just guarding your time. You're guarding your vision, your peace, your calling, your wholeness. You're guarding the version of you that God has been healing, pruning, and preparing. And some relationships, if left unchecked, will undo what took you years to rebuild. You've got to understand everyone should not have equal access to you. Just because you love them doesn't mean they get unrestricted entry into your mind, your emotions, or your space. Love has limits. Love has wisdom. Real love respects boundaries. If they only love you when you're convenient, if they only call when they need something, if they gaslight you every time you ask for space, if they label you difficult, when you enforce your worth, your peace is not up for debate. Your worth is not up for discussion. Your time is not a free for all. You were not created to be emotionally available to people who are spiritually irresponsible. Some of you are in cycles of confusion because you keep granting access to people who keep proving they can't handle it. And then you wonder why you're frustrated. You wonder why your spirit is off. You wonder why your boundaries don't work, because they're not being enforced. Stop expecting people to like the boundary that protects you from the very thing they benefit from. Some people will call you cold or selfish when they can no longer manipulate you. But don't shrink. Don't soften your standards. Don't let guilt break the gate you built in wisdom. You are not mean. You are not arrogant. You are not hard to love. You are finally learning to honor yourself. And yes, it might feel lonely at first, but trust me, peace will fill the places where chaos used to live. The quiet may feel strange, but in that silence, your healing will speak louder. You'll find joy in solitude. You'll discover clarity in stillness. You'll hear God again, not through noise, but through nourishment. You are worthy of rest. You are worthy of boundaries. You are worthy of relationships that don't make you question your value. You are not a doormat. You are not a machine. You are not a fixer for broken people who refuse to heal.